The sun was a dying ember in the vast violet sky, and the ocean was a sheet of liquid obsidian. Lyra, a mermaid with scales the colour of abalone and hair like drifting kelp, was late. The evening chorus of the reef was fading, and the safe, warm currents were cooling. She'd been too entranced by a sunken human ship, its wooden ribs bleached white and cradling gardens of coral. It was this distraction that led her into the open water. The change was immediate. The comforting, complex structures of the reef fell away, replaced by a crushing, empty blue. The water grew cold, and the light from above was thin and unforgiving. A primal fear, ancient and cold, tightened around her heart. This was the hunting ground. She was not alone. He had been following her scent for a mile, a faint trace of salt and sunlight in the vastness. Kael was a great white, a creature of pure function, a living blade of muscle and cartilage. His world was a symphony of scent, vibration, and electrical impulse. He knew her fear before she did, the frantic, fluttering rhythm of her heart a drumbeat in the water. He emerged from the gloom below, a spectre materializing from the deep. He was immense, a shadow given teeth. His hide was not a fish's scale, but ancient grey armour, scarred from 100 battles with squid and rival sharks. His eyes were black, depthless orbs that held no malice, only a perfect, terrifying purpose. Lyra froze. Every nursery rhyme, every warning from her elders screamed in her head. Be still. Don't bleed. Don't fear. But the fear was a tidal wave. She flinched, her powerful tail giving an involuntary thrash. It was the signal he was waiting for. Prey. Fleeing. Kael surged forward, a torpedo of pure force. The water pressure of his passing slammed into her, a physical blow. She screamed, a sound that was lost in the immense silence of the deep, and dove, not with strategy, but with blind, panicked instinct. It was a mistake. He was faster. He was always faster. He closed the distance in a heartbeat, his massive head swinging, his jaw unhinging to reveal a nightmare of serrated ivory. Lyra squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for the shattering impact. It never came. A curious sound reached her, a low, resonant hum that vibrated through her bones, not through the water. It was a sound of frustration. Cracking one eye open, she saw him. He had halted mere inches from her tail, his enormous body still. His jaw was shut. Those black eyes were fixed on her, but the mindless hunger was gone. Instead, there was a strange, focused intensity. He circled her, slowly, the movement not of a hunter closing in, but of an investigator. He nudged her with his snout. It wasn't a bite, but a push, a firm, insistent press that sent her spinning gently in the water. He did it again, this time from the other side, correcting her spin. "What are you doing?" she thought, her terror now mixed with a dizzying confusion. He circled her once more, and then, with another low hum, he moved behind her and nudged her firmly in the small of her back. He was pushing her. He was herding her. Trembling, too stunned to argue, she allowed herself to be guided. He stayed just behind her, a vast, silent escort. He would occasionally dart to one side if she began to drift off course, a gentle nudge from his snout setting her right again. The fear began to ebb, replaced by a dawning, impossible realization. He wasn't hunting her. He was helping her. After what felt like an eternity, the familiar, welcoming shapes of the coral reef began to materialize in the dusky water. The scent of life and safety filled her senses. At the very edge of the open water, Kael stopped. He would go no further. The reef was a maze, a place for smaller, more agile creatures. He was a creature of the endless blue. Lyra turned to face him. The mermaid and the shark regarded each other in the twilight. She saw the scars on his snout, the sheer, brutal power of him, but she no longer saw a monster. She saw a creature of profound, silent intelligence. She reached out a hand, hesitant. He moved forward, not with speed, but with a strange delicacy, and allowed her fingertips to brush the rough, leathery skin between his eyes. A shudder ran through his entire body, a vibration she felt in her own soul. It was not a threat. It was an acknowledgement. Then, with a powerful flick of his tail that sent a current washing over her, he turned and vanished. One moment he was there, a mountain of grey in the blue, and the next he was simply gone, absorbed back into the vastness from which he came. Lyra drifted into the warm embrace of the reef, the familiar sounds of clicking shrimp and parrotfish grating on coral suddenly deafening. She was home. But she knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that her world was no longer just the sun-dappled coral and the singing whales. A part of it was now the silent, endless blue, and the solitary king who ruled it. And sometimes, on the very edge of the reef, she would sing a new song, a song not of fear, but of a strange, deep gratitude, hoping the vibrations would carry through the miles of water to a creature who listened to a different music. And far away, in the cold, dark silence, a great shark would pause, sensing a familiar sun-warmed echo, a tiny, bright note in his immense and lonely world. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.